Preposition. So a preposition is a word that shows the relationship of a noun or a pronoun, which are called the object of a preposition, to another word. So some examples. I walked past the park. Past is our preposition. And what follows, we're going to call our prepositional phrase. You can see the definition of prepositional phrase at the bottom of your screen, and it's simply the preposition plus its object, which again is always going to be a noun or pronoun along with any modifiers. So in this case, past is the preposition, the we know is an adjective, and park, of course, is a noun. So if we're thinking about relationships, right, this past, in many ways, is working like the adverbs we talked about last. It's giving us some information about where we walked. Right? I walked past the park. And as we go on and talk about prepositions, you're going to see some of those same words that we talked about as adverbs working in a new way, this time as prepositions. I'm going to go through and underline the prepositions and bracket the prepositional phrases for the next 3 sentences. And notice that the construction is largely staying the same. Right? I've just substituted prepositions to help you see that we are talking about relationships. Right? So through is a preposition, across is preposition, as is outside. So if we're thinking about prepositional phrase, includes the preposition, the object of the preposition, which is always a noun or a pronoun, and then any of its modifiers. And these will be our prepositional phrases. And again, it's really important that in time you are able to identify where those prepositional phrases are found, as they often come along with punctuation. So if you start a sentence, for example, with a prepositional phrase, it might be the case that at the end of that phrase, you're going to put a comma. So it's good to see where that prepositional phrase is found in that sentence, so you can think about confidently where you might put a comma. Here you can see there are a large number of prepositions. I'm not going to read all of them for you, although you do want to get to know these well. Knowing the list on your screen of prepositions well will help you to determine where that prepositional phrase is. And as you do so, you'll be able to think about those questions about punctuation. So common prepositions, words like about, across, right? Words that are often showing place, right, or direction. Below, beside, between. Also words like for, from, in, of, off, to, with. They're often working as prepositions, if not always. In a few minutes, we're going to talk about the preposition to, as it is one of those that in a different sentence might be serving a different purpose. We also have, as you can see, some commonly used compound prepositions. You're going to treat them as one, even though there's two words here. According to, because of, by means of, in addition to, in front of, in spite of, instead of, on account of, prior to. These are working as prepositions in your sentence. So, some example sentences. And again, I'm going to, for the first one, as we've done in the past, I'm going to identify the parts of speech for all the words in that sentence as a way to review. But let's start with that preposition and the prepositional phrase. In this case, it's quite short. Perhaps you've seen it already. It's only 2 words in length. To is our preposition. And then him concludes our prepositional phrase. Him, of course, is a pronoun. It's in the object place, so we have the objective form of the pronoun. But for now, just remember that it's a pronoun. All right, so this is our prepositional phrase. Okay? And that's the shortest it can get, right? It's going to be 2 words at least in length. And it always follows this pattern, right? Preposition plus a noun or a pronoun. And in between, we might have some adjectives. So, other words in the sentence. I, of course, is a pronoun. First person, singular, personal pronoun. Through, action verb. What did I throw? I threw the ball. It's a noun. The is our article, definite article, working as an adjective in the sentence. All right, our next sentence. The deer ran through the woods. Through is my preposition. Starting my prepositional phrase. Remember that pattern. Through plus a noun or a pronoun. And perhaps in between, we're going to have, like we do here, some modifiers. Right? In this case, we have the article the working as an adjective, noun ending my phrase. The next sentence, the girl walked beside her father. Beside, showing relationship to that word. Where did the girl walk? Well, she walked beside her father. Okay. Starting my prepositional phrase. Look at this. Noun, ending it. Noun, pronoun. Right? So nouns and pronouns, hopefully you can see this pattern, will almost always end that prepositional phrase. And then we have this pronoun showing possession. Possessive pronoun working as, of course, an adjective to describe father. Now, as I said earlier, sometimes those prepositions in a different sentence might be an adverb. And you might be feeling like, oh my God, not again. How am I going to keep all this straight? A word in one sentence is an adverb, and another now it's a preposition. As crazy as it seems, it's true. So here we go. The carpenter climbed down the ladder. So as long as we're thinking about our patterns, that's what grammar is. It's a pattern. Right? Grammar helps to organize language, helps to organize those words so they make sense to whomever it is you're communicating to. Okay? It's about order. All right? Here's my preposition. Following that preposition, if it is a preposition, I should see a noun or a pronoun. And there it is. There it is, right there. And of course, we have that modifier in between. Okay, so remember that pattern. Preposition plus a noun or a pronoun. And of course, again, we might have some modifiers in between. We're going to begin with the preposition. We're going to end with a noun or a pronoun with that phrase. Right? So in this next example, there's down again. Right? But if we're being aware of our patterns, right, we should easily be able to determine that this is an adverb. It's not. No, it's not a preposition. So there it is. Here, down is working as an adverb describing climb. Okay? And it's true, this phrase in many ways is describing climb as well. Right? Remember, prepositions help to show relationships between a noun and some words. But look at this. At the end of the sentence, there are no nouns. There are no pronouns. What do we have? Just another adverb. Okay? So since there are no nouns or pronouns to create a phrase, right, then we would treat down in this case as a preposition. Let's go on and take a look at our next example. And again, you're going to see that same pattern we just talked about. We walked outside. There's no nouns. There's no pronouns following it. Right? It's just we walked outside. Right? So there's no phrase being created by outside. It's simply describing walked. So we would say that outside here is working as an adverb. Unlike in our next sentence. Okay? Here's a good example of a prepositional phrase ending with a noun, having a number of modifiers in between. Really a great sentence for review. So outside, right? Here we can confidently say it's a preposition. Because at the end, you've seen it, right? You probably saw it before I underlined it. There is the noun. Okay? So there that pattern is there right away. Preposition plus a noun and its modifiers. Preposition plus a noun and its modifiers. And what are its modifiers? Right? Part, working as an adjective to describe boundary, right? And of course, in a different sentence, in some of our example sentences from earlier, use that word part, but as a noun. But here, it's a noun working as an adjective. It gives us additional information about the boundary. It's not just it's not a forest boundary, perhaps. It's the park boundary. It's not the schoolyard boundary. It's the park boundary. Right? So it's giving us additional information. Of course, is working as an adjective. Right? So think about patterns. Right? They'll become more and more important as we go on with our study of English grammar. One final note, and this is with that preposition to. That word to, when it's next to an action verb, right? Like to plus, let's put the pattern up there. To plus an action verb. Or to plus a form of to be. Equals an infinitive. Okay? Sometimes to then is part of a verb phrase. Sometimes it's part of a prepositional phrase. Okay? So in this sentence, we have both. All right? So we walked to the library to get a new book. Again, if you're thinking about patterns, you have no trouble with this at all. To and to, right? We have two twos in our sentence, but they're not working the same. They're working for entirely different purposes. So we walked to the library. Like, to the library. This is our prepositional phrase. Right? And I know this because following that to, here is that noun. Right? Of course, that is the adjective. Immediately following that, right, I have this other to. Now, if I look at the second pattern that I've introduced to you, to plus a verb, to plus a verb, if I have that, then I know I have an infinitive. To plus a noun, prepositional phrase. To plus a verb, infinitive. And get, I don't have to tell you, but I will anyways, is a verb. So I know. What do I have here? I have an infinitive.